My name is Carrington Pierre, and I made $1 million in revenue by the time that I was 29 years old. Today is my birthday. I'm now 29. I've been an entrepreneur at heart since I believe I was in the 4th grade. So right now, these are the 3 moments of my life that actually almost caused me to want to quit being an entrepreneur. The first lesson I'll give you guys is this. There was a moment in my life where I was just going through this depressive state where I've tried so many different things on my journey to 7 figures. I've owned car customization shops. I've done window tinting. I've owned Amazon reseller stores, Amazon FBA, Amazon FBM. I day traded for about 4.5 years. And I've had different levels of success throughout all of these things. I've also been a real estate agent, a realtor in Massachusetts since I was 19 years old. And so I've done so many different things. Like, for example, in real estate was how I made my first $10,000 check. And because of owning a property in real estate, I bought my first house for $272,000 with my mom. And I sold that house when I was 26 years old for $550,000. I was able to make $115,000 in profit on that house from my half of the sale. And that was how I made 6 figures in one check. But there was a moment in my life where the way I look at it now is God put me in this season in my life where I was being prepared, right? And it sucked. When God puts you in your season of preparation, it's not supposed to be enjoyable. It's not supposed to be fun, but it was this moment where I've wanted these things in life. I wanted this success. I've wanted the money, the lifestyle, the penthouse, all this stuff. But I was going through a season where it's just like, man, like things weren't just working out the way it was. And I just felt stuck. And I remember at that moment in my life, that was when I was the most depressed, the most sad. I'll actually have my team put a picture of me of how I looked when I was sad and depressed at the time. But I always say that through those seasons, my hairline was receding. And I said that on my path to being a 7-figure earner, my hair was a sacrifice of that. But I was just at this moment in time, guys, where I was bedridden. I didn't want to get out of bed because I just felt like I was looking at so many things on the internet, so many people that were successful on Instagram. And it led me to learning that comparison is the thief of joy. I kept comparing myself to so many people's journeys. Man, why is this kid having this car at 19 years old? Or why is this guy doing this at 25 and 24 and 26? And some of you might be thinking, damn, well, wow, I'm not 29, or maybe you might be older than me or younger than me. Why is this person at 29 been able to do 7 figures? I'm telling y'all, man, like comparison just kicked my ass. And so what I had to do to actually resolve that situation is I literally deleted Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat off my phone for 2 years straight. And I went ghost. By the time that I came back on social media, I was refreshed. My mindset around people and being able to celebrate other people's wins. Never been a hater. I've always been able to celebrate other people's wins, but that comparison just kept biting at me, man. And so I had to take 2 years off of social media for that. And it was so refreshing, where I was just able to lock in, keep my head down, really focus on learning before I started really earning the way that I was. That is a moment in my life that I'm so thankful for. And what's funny is when I was in that moment in my life, like it wasn't funny, bro. Like nothing was funny. Like me and now my wife, we used to laugh and joke around and just be able to like enjoy ourselves even when we were broke. But now when I think of those stories as depressed and sad and just how like, man, I just felt like life was kicking my ass. And I went through this moment where I was praying to God and I just felt like God wasn't listening to me, but I didn't realize that he was listening. It's just that one thing that my grandma says is that God rides on a donkey, and because he rides on a donkey, he will come to you, but because it's a donkey, it will just be a slow process. You know what I mean? It's just a funny thing that my grandma says to me, man. That is one of the key things out of those 3 things, right? Now, one of the other moments in my life where I almost wanted to quit was, not a funny situation. Not like I said, now it's funny to me, but what it was is that I was in this place where I could have gotten comfortable. So I remember at the time I was 18 years old. I was making like $3,000 to $4,000 a month out of high school. I was the youngest sales department manager for the home theater, the washer and appliance department, the car audio, and the gaming department. I was the youngest manager at 18 years old, managing an $8 million business out of high school. Now, from 16 years old to the time that I was 18, I had done a little bit under $4 million in sales for Best Buy, just selling in different departments. Now, keep in mind at the time, Best Buy wasn't doing commissions, so I wasn't making no commissions, but at the time I was getting paid what I thought was a decent hourly pay. And so at that point in my life, I could have gotten real comfortable because out of high school, I was already making $4,000 a month. I had no bills, no expenses, still lived with my mom and my brothers and my family. I had 2 cars at the time. I was just in a position in my life where I could have really just become very complacent. And I was on a trajectory at Best Buy that if I kept going, By the time that I was here, I would have easily been either a store manager, district manager, probably making $200,000-$300,000 a year. But for me, God just put this bug in me all my life that as much as I was a good employee, he just always tell me this was not for you. Being an employee was not for you. You have to be your own boss. And I just always remembered that no matter how good a job pays me, it will never give me the freedom that I've ever wanted. So it was one of those moments where I could have literally given up on being an entrepreneur and just continued to go down the right path. And when I say the right path, and I say this the right path from what people kept saying to me growing up, go to school, get a good education, get a degree, get a good job. Little did I know that from the time that I was 18 to the time I was 19, a year later, I bought almost a $300,000 house, literally with only having 1 year of credit experience. And if you're in a position right now where you're trying to learn how to structure your credit profile to be able to qualify for mortgages, car loans, funding for your business, high limit credit cards, whatever it may be, there's a free community down in the description that you can click and you can join. Again, it's completely for free, where you can actually access and join a community of like-minded people like you. And you can actually see all the information, all the knowledge, all the resources that my team and I have put together just for you to be able to go and speed up the process for you on your journey to 7 figures as well. So if that's for you, click the link down in the description. Again, it's free to join down below. Now, moment number 3 in my life was that I could have given up, honestly, and this one was when that transitional period when you're in high school. And, everyone in high school is applying for colleges and you're waiting for your acceptance letters and all that stuff. And I remember in high school, I wanted to go to school to become a CPA, a certified public accountant. And I had done accounting for like 2 years in high school. I was really good at numbers. My family, my grandma, my mom are really good with numbers. So for me, I thought that was the journey for me. And I thought that I was going to go, have a good job while I was working at Best Buy. I got accepted into Bentley University and Bryant University, which are the 2 out of the 3 schools, I believe they called them at the time, the 3 B's of business, right? Bentley, Bryant, I can't remember the last one at this moment in time, but I got accepted into 2 of those schools. And at the time, they think they wanted like $64,000 or $68,000 per year to go to these colleges. I remember I was going to go down that path. I was going to apply for it. And this was literally before I bought the house with my mom. And I remember I was so sure on the path I was going to go there. I still wanted to be an entrepreneur, still wanted to be my own boss. But this moment, I'm like, man, I'm going to go to the colleges, go to the schools. And then one day when I'm working at Best Buy, God brought this customer into the Best Buy. Now, mind you, now I'm bald. So the version of me now and the guy looks the same. But the guy back then, he was a few years older than me. He was bald. He had a little, tiny little beard, nothing crazy at all. He didn't have a full beard. He just had a little peach fuzz type hair. The guy was a black dude just like me. I was taller than him, whatever. But similar. I could see myself in the guy, minus the fact that at the time I had hair. I remember the guy was like, yeah, man, I'm here to buy a new laptop for work. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. What do you do for work? And the guy was like, oh yeah, man, I'm a CPA. I just graduated from Bentley University and I work for, I think it was at the time, it was either KPMF or Ernst & Young. Those are 2 out of the 4 biggest accounting firms in America. And so I'm like, oh my God, that's what? You graduated from one of the colleges I got accepted to. You're working at one of the accounting firms that I was gonna go and want to work for after I graduate. Man, what's it like? I'm asking him this, and I felt like in my heart, it was an opportunity for me to really see a glimpse into the future. Remember, if you go, you can look around people that you've grown up around. There are a lot of people you can really see, maybe small glimpses of yourself, and you can see what happens if you don't commit to your dream. What happens if you go down this path? A lot of people look for people to see what they can gain that can help them in success, what lessons you can get. There are a lot of lessons you can get from people's mistakes. But the guy, I asked him how is it working? How's it working at these big firms? How is it at Bentley? And the guy was just giving me all these stories and examples of things, but his energy was just it wasn't no crazy, oh my God, it was amazing, bro. The job's phenomenal. It was more so I just remember this one part. The guy was like, yeah, man, when you start working there right now, I just started working there not too long ago. And yeah, bro, I'm working 90 hours a week. And for me, because I started at the bottom, I'm the one running around the office, getting everyone's paperwork, and I'm doing a lot of the grunt work and staying in the offices. But man, if I stay on this path, I know that one of the people, the accountability partners that they gave him at the job, was like, man, if you work these next 5 to 8 years, you could probably become a junior partner. But the guy was like, I'm working 90 hours a week. I barely see my family. I'm like, okay, well, how's the money? Yeah, man, I'm making a little bit over $65,000, $70,000. And I'm like, huh. Yeah, I'm working at Best Buy. I'm making like $25,000, $30,000 a year while going to high school. And I'm like, you're making $70,000. You went through 5 years of college. You're probably in debt $200,000, $300,000, and you're only making a little bit over $70,000. Now, mind you, I kept it respectful, but this is everything that was playing out in my head. And so it was a really big eye opener because, again, I felt like I was stuck on this path. I was going to go on this path. Everyone around me, all the adults were like, man, you're intelligent. Go to school, go get a degree, go get out. And God gave me that reality check that just took me off of that journey, because right after that conversation, I still ended up going to college, but I didn't go to Bentley and I didn't go to Bryant. I went to a local college because a year later, I didn't know that my mom was going to need my help to buy a $272,000 house. And at the time, my debt to income ratio for the house and for the colleges couldn't work together. So I had to pick either the house or the college. So I chose the house, obviously. We lived from apartment to apartment for 14 years in America since we immigrated from Haiti. And to be in a position, because my credit at the time at 19 years old, over 700, it was like a 750 or 760. It was everything that I learned from 16 to 19 that allowed me to do these things. But seeing that guy and meeting that guy when I was around 17 years old, 2 years later, it was just a very big eye opener. And it was one of the reasons why I chose to drop out of college. I went to actually Bridgewater State University for like a year and a half. And then I dropped out because I was like, man, like what am I gonna do here? Like, I already bought a house. I'm 19 years old at this point. This is my second year of college. I got 2 cars. I'm making, now at this point, I was a manager at Best Buy, making over $4,000, $5,000 a month. I had no real bills. So for me, I was just like, yeah, no, I'm just gonna go and invest into myself and go learn how to be an entrepreneur even more and double down on that. And yeah, it was one of the best decisions I ever made. Now at 29 years old, I've been able to generate over $1 million in revenue. The most money I've ever been able to make in a day was over $240,000 in a day. It's been a journey. It hasn't been easy. It's been tough, but I wouldn't trade it in for nothing. I wouldn't trade in nothing for the amount of freedom, just the amount of things I've been able to do, the amount of people I've been able to impact, and just the things that God has allowed me to just be able to see. I'm so thankful for. I wouldn't trade it for anything. And if you're currently on your journey to 7 figures, then I would love for you to be able to join our free community, the LV Wayfinders community, where you can be able to access all the knowledge that we have on other people's money that I've been able to build the community around, where I've been able to help you structure the roadmap that you can follow to getting to 7 figures. If you're an operator stuck at sea and you don't know where you're going and you feel like you're stuck, well, join the LV Wayfinders community, where you can get more information, more guidance, and there's so much more below. Completely free to join the community down below. Just click the link in the description and I'll see you inside. Peace.